everyone, and welcome to the Party of Broadway World Podcast. Today, I have Cyd Kutcipul and Lee H. Alexander, the ensemble of the group, of the Jagaloko group.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Yay. Hello,
Great to
hello.
be here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what's really really weird and funny, actually, you, me, and Lee have been kind of friends for a while. We kind of met on Instagram. We just kind of became friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole tour, really. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, true.
Mhm.
So what is it actually like to be part of that ensemble?
Mm.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, Lee?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can go first. I mean, the rehearsal process was unlike any experience I've experienced. Sydney Larby, our choreographer, our brilliant director, uh, Diane Paulus, and also working with, our associate choreographer, Yaman Brown. Like it was just an amazing experience. I feel like Jagged is a show that every night feels different because of the audience. It's a show that really relies heavily on audience participation, and me and Cyd's role in the conscience were kind of like, you know, ethereal beings that are helping the family trying to figure out their trauma and overcome their pain to, be closer together. So I feel like it was an incredibly collaborative process, but it was also a process of kind of making something that's been and making it into like a new version of the show based on who we had in the room. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that was the biggest thing I feel like for our whole ensemble was being in that room, and they had done so many things on Broadway that they needed to either change for the tour or didn't get to refine before they opened again on Broadway after. Oh, I have birthday balloons. I don't know what happened. What's happening? I didn't push a button. I promise. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I anyway. You guys saw that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was
Hands
hands are away.
This is
I don't
gonna make
know.
for a wild episode, y'all.
Keeping it interesting. Yeah,
Right.
no, so either, there were things that like we had to change for the tour because we couldn't tour with certain parts of the set, or there were things that they wanted to it's happening again. I don't know. So sorry, guys. I'll just pretend it's not there. Or maybe, oh, is it because I'm doing the peace sign?
Yeah, I think
I think,
so.
oh yeah.
Okay, I'll stop doing the peace sign. Two, yeah, so there were just some things that they wanted to change. So we got to, take some from the Australian touring production, and we had like the whole original creative team there in the rehearsal space, which I think was a huge deal for the ensemble, just because we had to kind of redo a lot of the show in a time span that was meant to like just put up the show how it was and not really to reformat the entire show. So I think our whole ensemble had our work cut out for us, and I think we really had to kind of hunker down as a team, very much like a team sport, really, to kind of like bond together to kind of work through. I mean, it is a heavy show, we go through it every night, but we kind of had to hunker down, bond with each other, keep it light, keep it fun, but make sure, we're all doing our part to tell this story. So yeah.
Mhm. And Cyd, you also understudy for Joe
Yeah.
too, so you get to rock out to "You Oughta Know," and I'm like always jealous because I'm like, I want to do this. I want to do Joe. I want to be Joe.
Mhm.
It's fun. It's a fun time. Yeah. It's
It
scary. It's scary.
oh, I bet.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
it's a lot of fun.
Mm, I, that was actually my next question: is how was it for you to
Yeah.
how was it to sing "You Oughta Know"?
Yeah. Yeah. I had kind of a crazy experience with Joe because I when I got thrown into it, Jade had just tested positive for COVID. We were early on in the tour, and I had just did my put in for the first time, so I just done it on stage with everybody for the first time, and they were like, "Okay, you're on for this foreseeable future until Jade tests negative for COVID," and I was like, "Oh, I'm not just doing this like once this week, once that week." You know, it was like I had a full week, and at that time, Alana, who was the other cover at the time for Joe, hadn't had their put in, so they were trying to get them so that we could switch off shows. So it was kind of like okay, here you go, you're pretty much full time for the foreseeable future, and I was like, whoa, which was, this being my first professional production and me just kind of being thrown into like, okay, here's your principal role for this week. I was a little overwhelmed, especially just, I think that there's so much expectation that comes with that song and with that performance because of, what Lauren Patton had done with the role and, the Tony for pretty much that song because Lauren made that so iconic. And then just the way that Jade, had taken over and how the reviews had talked about Jade and how it was just this huge deal. So I was really nervous that first week. And I think that was the way it needed to happen though. I mean, I got a few chances to do it just like in a row and I got a lot more comfortable with it. And as I continued to do it, gets more and more comfortable and more I can just kind of relax into it and have fun.
Did you guys get to meet the OG cast in like the beginning before you got on tour?
Well, oh sorry.
No, go ahead. You go ahead, Lee.
The associate choreographer, Yaman Brown, who helped basically stage the whole production and get it ready, like Cyd said, like literally in like 2 weeks. So like literally it was really a quick process. He was in the original Broadway cast. He was a swing. Also had Zach, who was also swing on Broadway, and Kay, who was in the ensemble on Broadway and played their original role. So it was a really cool experience because, like Cyd said, we had, members of the original creative team, but we also had members of the original cast, to give us advice and kind of guide us through this process of getting into these characters' skins and really getting into the world, So it's really great,
Yeah. And I think it's, such a community. I don't know what your experience has been, Lee, but as I have continued to audition for things, I met Jane Bruce. I was in an audition with Jane Bruce, who was in the original Broadway company. And I of course know who Jane Bruce is, but I didn't think that she would know who I was. But we saw each other and I was like trying to figure out how I was going to go up to her and be like, hey, I'm in the Jagged tour. My name's Sydney. We have this connection. And she actually came up to me and she was like, I feel like I know you from somewhere. And just because I had been on the Jagged tour and she had seen posts about me on Jagged, that she, like, and then I got to meet Ren Rivera, who was in my track on Broadway after it opened after COVID. And that was a very similar meeting. So I think it's just kind of like this, because of the content of the show and just like the legacy of the show, I think it's been fun to meet the original cast as well that we didn't get to work with. So yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. That experience, is definitely something that we can bond over with past everything. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Because I would imagine if you had met Lauren too, it'd be like kind of like jaunting, like, oh, I'm like Joe's understudy and I cover what she's saying and I want to make it perfect because she did. And
yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of pressure there.
For sure. Yeah. I know I'm a big fan of Lauren Patton. I still need to watch her new TV show, so I'm very excited to do that. I don't know if you've seen that, but yeah. So yeah, big fan. I hope to meet her one day.
Same. Same. But that's my goal. Have her on my podcast. That's my goal. I want to have her on my podcast, but It's never gonna happen.
That'd be awesome.
Mhm.
Hey, it could.
Cheers.
Definitely happen.
And then I also wanted to show you guys. I brought my book because, like, I remember you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, got my
That's
book.
awesome.
Oh, cool.
Wait, you want to hear a funny story about the book?
What?
Okay, so we why did I say we? That's not how I wanted to start this. Okay, Rishi, who plays Phoenix, when he was auditioning for this role, he was one of the last people to hear back that he got this job because they were auditioning for his role so late. And he didn't really know anything about the show at the time. And he was just like, he got this call back, and on his way to the callback, he had some time, so he stopped in a Barnes and Noble, and he was like, "Oh, here's the Jagged book," and he was looking through it, and he had opened to a page, and one of the teachers in the book, I haven't read it yet, but I've read sections of it, but one of the teachers in the book is named Miss Rishi, and he had opened to the page that said Miss Rishi, and he was like, "I think this is a sign that I'm about to book this show," and then he booked it like 2 days later.
Damn.
So I think that's a pretty cool.
I mean, what's meant to be is meant to be. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
It's fate. Yeah.
It's fate.
2 years later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Exactly. And then Lee, you have a whole bunch of different roles too. In the show, you're like kind of everybody almost technically.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my favorite part that I play is the doctor, just because I get to do a scene. I think when I was in college, when I was at U of M, pursuing my BFA in musical theater, like that's kind of what I was known for, like my acting prowess. I did a lot of plays, and I think that's kind of something that's like kind of my comfort zone. So it's been nice to just be able to do a scene, do a featured role, and just get to act with Ben, who's our Steve right now. Great guy, very talented human being, and just great to get to do a scene with him.
Yeah. Ironically, that is my favorite of your roles too, because I saw you as a doctor in Kalamazoo. I'm
Right.
like, I love him as a doctor. I think so much. And you, Cyd, as the receptionist for the therapist, right? Like as you're handing Steve, you're just like.
Yeah, it's a very fun thing, and I feel like every single time Diane comes, it's so funny. It's like the smallest little scene ever, but every time Diane comes to see the show, she wants to rework that scene, so it's a little different. I think, depending on where you've seen the show, it the different parts of our tour, that has completely changed, which is, I say one line, but Diane Paulus loves her perfection, so.
I just like the attitude that you give in that scene. You're just like, shut up and sign this.
Yeah, please, thank you. Yeah.
I don't need to hear your life story. That's for
That's
the
not
therapist.
For me. Exactly.
Oh my god. Do you guys have anything next, or like after the tour ends? Did you talk about?
Lee?
Cyd, do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. Not at the moment. I got this job when I was in my junior year of college. And so it's been this weird thing of like, I had an apartment I went to school in Virginia, at Shenandoah, and I had an apartment there, and then I moved out, all of my stuff like in boxes, and now all of the boxes are in my parents' basement. And it's like this weird thing because I like don't have a place of my own. I just like kind of go and say hi to my parents whenever we're off. And so it's like this weird thing of like I haven't had the chance to move to New York yet. So I think that's really what's next for me. I've been having auditions. I think our whole cast has been, just like doing tapes here and there. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of pack up my stuff and move to New York for the first time because I've been there so many times for all these auditions that it'll be fun to my whole class has now moved out there that I graduated with. So yeah, I'm excited to join them out there and get to like actually live my New York actor dream.
That's awesome. That's awesome. For me, nothing lined up theatrically. Like Cyd says, like a bunch of us are auditioning. A bunch of us are probably going to be moving back to the city in late summer, early fall. I yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. But I'm also a recording artist. I just dropped the album today, so
Yep.
Wait, is it today?
yeah,
Wait, what
yeah,
oh yeah, today's the 16th.
yeah. So
Yeah, I'll listen to it
Yep.
after this.
Yep.
Pressure's
Yep.
out on Spotify if y'all want to stream it. It's been years working with it with one of my good friends. So we wrote and produced it together. It's a love project of ours. So we made it with our generation in mind and everything like that. So that's something that I'm excited about. Besides just auditioning and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yep,
Yeah.
I know about your music. I've been following it for like a while, so I'm like,
Yeah.
yes. I'm so excited to listen to it.
Yeah. It's a fun project. We had a good time.
Congrats, Lee.
Thank you, Cyd.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to circle back a little bit to You Wanna Know, because that's an incredibly heavy, like hard song. And I noticed, and it might be just be my brain, but like I noticed like you were out of breath, but like by the middle of the song, I'm like, are they okay?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, 'cause that was, you saw me in East Lansing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I had not done Joe since San Francisco. So I hadn't done it in, I think it was like 4.5 months. And I kind of went on last minute for that. And I hadn't done that and I had not built up the stamina for it. I think like doing it in San Francisco, so many times in a row, I kind of like built up the stamina for it and I was like getting easier. And then I remember doing it in East Lansing and I was like, Lord help me, please, because I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. Yeah, it's really hard, and I've had to work harder on like getting getting my bearings on that. I've done some training to do that. Like running around my hotel room while singing it, because there's nothing that can prepare you for. You're on stage. I think it's like a mix of things. So like you're on stage in this moment, this like heavy acting moment, and you're feeling all of these emotions that already kind of tighten your chest.
Yeah.
And so you feel that in your body, and so already you're like, there's like a constriction that makes it hard to breathe, because like when you get emotional, that's what happens. And then like also the running around the stage, it may not seem, because like the first part you're standing still and it's easy, and then you start running around the stage and all of a sudden it gets really hard. So yeah, that has been a challenge for me, because I've always been a dancer. I've always kind of like, I've been working on my vocal technique and stuff like that, but that has always been like a thing for me. So I'm glad to say that I have gotten a lot better at breathing during the song. But yeah, East Lansing was a tough one. That was a wild time.
Yeah, and then you got someone like Jade who seems to be doing it flawlessly. I'm like, how?
Yeah. They've had a lot of practice.
The stamina, yeah.
How many shows are we in now?
Yeah, ooh, Lord Jesus.
Almost 450 shows.
I love how you look at your watch. You're like,
I know, my watch that doesn't exist. 450 shows. You can see right on my watch.
Freckle. Just look at the freckle.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the freckles.
Right. Count the gray hairs,
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Exactly. Oh my god, too funny. But yeah, like then there's Jade and Lauren Patton who have done it flawlessly. Like I'm like, how? You have lungs of steel or something, or just like
I know, it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's Hand in My Pocket, which is an amazing song. And I have a tattoo actually of like
Oh!
lines.
See.
Besides, no one knows who they are anyway. It's not like anyone knows who they
Aw.
are anyway.
Oh,
Oh, that's so cute.
that's so cool.
Actually, Ren Rivera gave me this idea because I asked
Oh,
them.
really?
Yeah, I got
Mhm.
this like a month after Jagged closed because I
Oh, wow.
had a mental breakdown because it closed, and I'm like, I just need a tattoo.
I get that, yeah. That's gonna be me here soon.
Yeah. Me too.
Have a mental breakdown, you get tattoos. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Or change your hair. I've done that many times.
Yeah. I have not had the guts to do that yet. But yeah, getting the hand in my pocket. That song means so much to me. Like, it just means so much, and this show has means so much actually too. Like, I came out in 2019, and it was because of this show. I'm gonna cry, but like, it was because of this show I got the courage to come out to my mother.
It's wonderful.
And I wanted to ask, I'm gonna cry. Oh my god. Like, what was that like to like? Do you get like people coming up to you and being like, "I came out because of the show," or like, do you get like those stories?
Yeah, all the time. I remember one that sticks out to me is I was in Chicago. We were in Chicago. I didn't do Joe in Chicago, but we had a young one come, not too young, but a younger person come to the show with their mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember they came and saw it a few times, and I'd always see them at stage door. We'd always chat for a while, and they're kind of what because when I saw the show on Broadway, I saw it I think in previews. Maybe I didn't. It was January 2020. I think I saw it with my mom, and I for the first time. I mean, that was the first time I had seen people's pronouns in their bios, and I thought that was like such a huge thing. And I had not come out as non-binary at that time. I was kind of still working through some of that in my head, and the show again for me is such a huge deal to be able to see like people in my field are doing this and are very proud about it and are able to work, and because that has always been a thing that people have told me. They're like, you do this and people aren't going to want to hire you. There's no place for that in this field. And so that was the first time I had seen it, and it helped me work through some of that. And I had kind of, after doing it so many times and you're like coming to it every day, and it's so hard on the body, it's so hard on the mind. You kind of get into this like, okay, here we go. I'm going to work. Let's go. Let's do the show, blah, blah, blah. And I remember every time they came, it just like reminded me, that how important it is to see people like Jade, and people like Ren and people like Kay and people like Alex, who are all trans, who are non-binary, on stage to show that these people that first of all, people who are not trans, that we belong in this field, and there's a place for us, and there's a place for us to tell our stories, and a place for us to be artists, and we have so much to give. And for those trans kids who feel like they don't have a place and are scared to come out because of their passion, or scared to follow their passion because they don't think that there's a place. And I remember this kid always coming up to me and just being like, I love watching you. It makes me so happy that there's somebody like me on stage. And I would cry every time I saw them because they were so sweet. And they wrote me a little note. And whenever I need to remember that, I have it like in my little box that travels with my dress into my dressing room. And I always look at that when I need a little reminder of like, there are kids that are watching that are like, that's going to be me one day. And it's a huge deal. So I don't know if that helped with the question, but yeah, there are a lot of people that do come up and talk about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Heidi would always say, who was our the Mary Jane that we started with on tour, and also was Mary Jane on Broadway, she would always say, like, always remember that there's that one kid that's like, this show is blowing their mind. Like, they're having that light bulb moment of, oh, I want to do theater, or this is something that excites me. And like, they're having that epiphany. Like, always remember, even if you don't see that kid, like, after in the show in the stage door, they don't say anything to you, like, that moment is happening, every night, and
Yeah.
we always try to remain like sensitive to that, because it can be, you can get in the routine. Sometimes you can get, a little, complacent sometimes, but, it's important to remember that we're impacting people. Like this hard, soft, in all different ways. And all, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been special to be part of it. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I hope you guys know, like, this show helps so many people. It helped me a lot too. With like with figuring out who I am, and it's like, since I get, like, I guess, like, I got that tattoo, and I always look at it and like, and like, think like, it's okay not to have everything figured out yet. It's okay. Like, it really helped me out to understand that, and this show is such a gift, and I'm really, really upset that it's like almost over.
I think that I mean, we talked to our producer the other night, and she came and saw it in Tempe, Arizona, and we were talking about how sad, like, it's coming to a close, and it's been, this has been such a long project of, kind of refiguring it, and it's been such a labor of love. And so she's like, I'm sure we're gonna see this, a ton of different companies do this, so it's gonna stick around. How is yet to be, kind of figured out, but yeah, we'll see what's next for it.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I mean, I'm hoping for a revival on Broadway for the OG cast, but that's probably not gonna happen. But
I mean, anything's possible.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And then, because a lot of you, when I talk to you, because it was funny, like, okay, so here's a really funny story of the last day of when you guys were in Kalamazoo. I met Jade, and I was like, it's just so funny how a lot of you guys are like friends with me, like, and like, I'm like literally nobody, like, what? And they were like, yeah, well, you're part of the family. I'm like, I like trying not to cry, and then I get to my car and I'm just like bawling my eyes out as soon as I get into the car. Ugh. And
That's really sweet. Yeah.
yeah, and I always remember that one interaction of like, you guys are so sweet, especially to me. Like, you like, a lot of you guys like came up and like ran up to me to hug me, and I'm like,
Yeah,
and
it's the
then
jagged little family.
Yeah, little fan.
And then Lee, I also have to apologize to, though, because the first day he was like braving the cold, the wind that was like blowing, and you're like shivering. I'm shivering, and like you're trying to like sign everything and sign mine. I'm like, I'm sorry.
I'm
It was cold.
I'm in Michigan, so I'm used to the cold.
True.
I'm a Michigander, and I'm not used to it.
Yeah, I guess you never get right. Yeah.
No, like, I'm not used to it. I want to leave. I want to like be in like Florida. I want to be where you are right now.
Yeah. Oh my
Florida.
God. Florida's nice. Florida's nice.
It's nice. Yeah. It's humid today. It's really humid today.
It is. Damn.
Oh
Yeah.
my
But it's nice.
Don't like don't don't do that. Like, don't like be like, oh yeah, it's humid. It's like,
What's the weather like there now?
oh my God, let's see. Oh my God, it's like,
yeah. I was just there. It was like kind of temperate.
yeah, it's like 30 degrees right now and cloudy.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was snowing yesterday, and I'm like, oh. I don't want to be reminded of that.
Right.
That was a
It
bad
was early
day.
spring. It's early spring. Isn't that what the groundhog said? Early
Yeah.
Well, the groundhog's stupid. The groundhog's dumb. He don't know shit.
spring.
You know, you're real for that.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you're right. Right. That doesn't mean really.
He said early spring. It's not spring at all. It's
Yeah,
It's
right.
it's snowing outside, please.
snowing. It snowed yesterday. It's not spring.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't even snow during Christmas, I don't think, right? We didn't even have a white Christmas, did we?
No, no.
Wow.
Mm-mm.
I didn't either. And I'm in Colorado. I was like, come on. I wanted a
Right.
white Christmas.
Yeah. They're the best.
But they are the best. But
Yeah.
what can you do?
Move somewhere that has snow
Yeah.
all the time.
Ooh,
All the time. Ooh, that'd be a lot.
I don't know about that.
Move to North Pole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Oof.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. But in Colorado, Sid, y'all can because y'all have such varying elevations, y'all could just drive like a couple miles and not
Very
have.
true.
very
Yeah.
true. Very
True,
That's-
true.
that's
Yeah,
really-
no, it's like the temperature, and I feel like it's always that thing of like they tell you if you're gonna go to the mountains to like pack for every single season because it could be you have no idea. I've gone hiking in the summer
Mhm.
and there was like fully like middle of June and there's
Yeah.
snow on the ground. So
Yeah.
but then you're like it's like hot, so you're like in your like short sleeves and shorts, but then there's like snow on the ground that hasn't melted and you're like, what's happening? It's
Mhm.
bizarre.
Oh my
Anyway.
God. Oh my God. That would throw me off.
That's another question too. And I have like, what's it like to like visit everywhere, but then like never know what the weather's gonna be like?
Oof.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
That's a whole thing about tour and everything, because I remember yeah, I mean, yeah, you just never know sometimes, because you assume that some places are because Fayetteville, when we were in Arkansas, it was I assumed that it was going to be cold, but it was kind of springy, summery. So it's I
Yeah.
don't shorts, so I was just wearing sweatpants every day. So yeah, it's a little weird.
It
It
was
is a little-
very odd. Because I mean, like even like when we were in Dallas, Texas, we were I mean, we came to Dallas right before we went to Kalamazoo, I think, and I mean, we knew it was gonna be cold in Kalamazoo, but
Mhm.
we're like Dallas, Texas, it's gonna be temperate. It's gonna be like 50s, 60s. And we got there during the random freak freeze that happened in Dallas, and it was snowing, and we were like, what? Yeah, but I think that it's it is an interesting thing to navigate the weather for it just depends, if you're in a really cold place and all of a sudden the heat's really high in the building that we're performing in because of it's outside, it's cold, it's nice for your body because you can keep warm for the show, but then also, I mean, you're sweating a ton, and then with the air coming in, it dries out your voice a ton, so there's so many factors that go into you feeling like you can just do your best show. And I feel I mean, I remember back in Vegas, back at the very beginning of tour, we were there. I mean, that was just brutal because you're super dehydrated. It was 110 degrees every day. Super dehydrated. It was super hot. Some people came to work sunburnt. It was just a whole thing. And so it's it's interesting. It's fun to be in all the different climates, but it's also something that you have to take extra good care of your body depending on where you are, which is
And y'all were supposed to come March of last year, and then you had to reschedule, and I was like, damn it, I really wish they would have came in March instead. This is freezing. I don't like this. I'm
Yeah.
braving the stage door, freezing my ass off, but this is worth it. But still,
right.
Right. Yeah.
ugh. And getting to that, I still don't, to this day, don't know what happened. I'm like,
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't think we know either. I think they just told us, they were like, by the way, we won't be going to Kalamazoo during this time. We're trying to reschedule. And we were like, okay, that's bizarre. But I'm glad they got it rescheduled so that we could,
Yeah. Yeah. I really hope that you guys come back because I really want you to come back. Just on your final day, just circle back to Kalamazoo.
Right, just circle back.
Just stay.
Right.
Never leave Kalamazoo. Just stay. Well, thank you guys for coming on. Like, seriously, I really do appreciate it.
Of course, it's fun.
And I really appreciate you guys being so nice about like wanting to come on the podcast and like.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. Very fun.
It was great.
Oh my god. And hopefully next time we get Dylan, because I was texting him all day yesterday. I was texting him yesterday and the day before that, and then today, and I heard nothing back. And I'm like, okay, do you still want to do the podcast, or you seem excited, but okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Dilly K.
Give him hell for me, please.
Yeah, I'm sharing a car with him this week because we have rental cars, so I'll be sure to go.
Yeah. Hey,
kiss,
you.
Kiss.
Podcast today.
I'll shame him for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a good day.